So,
Man, whatever that is.
live. Yes. Let me pause that.
It's city ordinance. Nothing about us.
All right. Hey guys, we are coming live from Carrizo Springs. We're outside of one of the two influx facilities. The last time that we were out here, this was pretty empty. They had already shut this facility down. Um, and now it looks like they are revamping it up. So I'm here with some amazing patriots over here. We've got Jesse Perales over there and Peter. And then Peter, where you and your wife, your family have been so engaged and involved when I talk about becoming border advocates in your city, in your county. You guys have been doing this for quite some time now, and you have been taking the lead and the charge here in DeMitt County. You've become a strong voice. You've got your own channels now where you're posting the information, you're posting the interviews, you're getting all this pertinent information from the city councils to the county commissioners, everything here local. You guys have just you're creating a really strong force and a voice for the local citizens here. So will you tell us a little bit about yourself, your page, and then if you want to go ahead and go right on into after that, where we're at right now?
Sure. So, like Sheeta said, my name is Peter Perez. I'm just a local citizen here, and we co-manage two local businesses. I'm also part of a ministry, but I'm the administrator of Dimmitt County Border Crisis Reports page, where we have been documenting for almost 2 years how the border crisis has negatively impacted Dimmitt County alone, because it's impacting all the surrounding counties in many different ways.
And I hope you guys can hear him okay. I don't have any microphones, so hopefully just kind of speak up a little bit if you
I
can.
will
But
project
yes,
my voice.
just in case.
And our cameraman's right behind us over here, and he's been very crucial in helping us catch a lot of the footage in our own community. So right now, we're outside one of these facilities, influx facilities, which we were told was already, again, starting to see some movement. Last year, earlier in March, we were told that there was two influx facilities that were going to be set up in our town. We only heard of it because of the news. We came out on mainstream news, and we got together, started looking at all the information, talking to city council, commissioners, county, everybody that we could talk to and try to get information. We had a town hall meeting, which led to us being invited to tour this facility when it was open. So we were able to see, we were able to meet the director. We were able to see the facilities. We were able to walk into the facilities. We were in their main control room to see all their cameras. We saw how all of this functions. And furthermore, we were able to ask a whole lot of questions about what a lot of these children go through when they come across the border illegally. All the dangerous things that they face when it comes to abuse, when it comes to cartel, when it comes to all of those things that many of you are now learning about how bad this is and how it affects, of course, the children who are coming over here illegally. So right now, where we're at is one of those facilities. There's one actually across down the road, which was also seeing a lot of movement. Huge chunk of land, and there's a lot of.
Beverly, can you hear us okay? If you can just let me know that you guys can hear us. I'm sorry if it's kind of muted, but go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry,
No
Peter.
On that side, there is a lot of these hard-sided structures, excuse me, and it's being built right now. And we basically tried to make enough noise to get information, and a lot of our leaders said they just really didn't know what that particular influx facility was going to be used for. So long story short, we were able to get the media down here. So we've appeared on the media at least 4 or 5 times, especially our local news when it comes to all these facilities. So we had an interview across the way, and just recently I was updated that they are going to be waiting to open. They're on standby right now. However, I was told that this facility is already functioning. So as we crossed over, the security guards are already there, and there's a lot of cars. So we're out here just getting food.
And we even just saw as we came in some of the workers that were coming in. So this facility is up and running. And the last time that I came out here with you guys, that you guys brought me out here, this was pretty empty. It was just the basic building because, like you said, they were both shut down temporarily for a while, and then that one is massive, right? And Jesse's gotten some amazing drone footage from that. But this is the one that's already open. Did they say what exactly was? It's just children still that's being housed in this facility. Did they say potentially what the other facility compared to this facility would be housing, or what the differences would be between these two facilities once they are both up and running?
So from the facility across the way, we were told that it would possibly be used for Ukrainian refugees or for those crossing the border illegally. Um, we of course know that the main need is to house those who are crossing over illegally when it comes to children and families. They recently just started throwing out job fairs, putting up job fairs for hiring at the facility. So we know that they've already been hiring there. As far as who is here, the demographic, I don't have those details yet. But these particular facilities are mainly used for unaccompanied minors. So whether it's only unaccompanied minors, I'm still waiting for that information.
Okay. And what has the impact been here of these two facilities in your area? You've done an amazing job also covering, and we were just talking about it again this morning, right? The constant car chases, the bailouts. The new sheriff has been doing a good job of trying to uh, minimize the damage to the local heavier populated areas here in Carrizo Springs. But the population here of Carrizo Springs is about 5,800, right?
Yes.
Give or take. And what has, since both of these facilities were open last year, right? It feels like forever ago. I mean, everything's just mushed together. But since they were open and now that they're reopening, at least one is up and running, the other one is definitely gearing up. What has the impact been here, if any, of these facilities here, and maybe even the impacts as well, that maybe others don't think about, to these facilities opening up here?
I think that when it comes to the impact of our community as far as danger goes, that mainly came from the smuggling attempts. So we're talking about smuggling illegal aliens through our community day in and day out. And that person was like the danger that came from that. When it comes to the facilities, many would say, well, this isn't really negatively impacting the community because it's out of sight, out of mind. However, one thing that we saw in our community was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buses every single day on our main highway. And so when we began to catch wind of this possibly reopening, we began to see that traffic come up again. So we're talking about a congestion in traffic when it comes to the buses. So as far as how does this negatively impact our community, the answer usually is, well, it's out of sight, out of mind, so it really doesn't. But in our opinion, what it does here for our community first is um, a lot of the jobs that are being offered at these facilities. So you have people who leave their jobs and come and work here, and so we don't have those jobs actually in town. When it comes to different professions, when it comes to restaurants and local business owners, a lot of the money that you know should come from our community would come from these facilities.
Mm-hmm.
The one across the way, they had a few contracts with several food establishments in town, and so what that does is some make money and others don't.
Right.
Right. So there's a few issues there that I guess we could go across the board and say, here are the pros and cons. But when it comes to the facilities in general, what our position would be, as long as these are up, it's a symptom of the border crisis still being alive and well.
It's helping to facilitate and fast track in my opinion, what is an act of invasion.
Yeah.
And it is also pulling resources from local jobs that are needed for the community. But these are good paying jobs, right? And that's why people are attracted to it as well.
Sure.
because they are good paying jobs, even though they are quote unquote temporary. And I say that in quote unquote because this is not ending anytime soon, unfortunately. But also with respect to the restaurants, I'm sure that you guys also have very limited restaurants here in the area. And I know over there in Del Rio, for example, with the Haitian invasion that happened under the bridge in Del Rio, a lot of the local restaurants and a lot of the local grocery stores were wiped out completely because there was so many more mouths that they had to feed. And it was pulling those resources from those local restaurants and grocery stores as well. Is that also something that you see here happening here as well?
So last year we did see a lot of the workers from these facilities go to town and buy a lot of food and resources for the kids here.
Mm-hmm.
So we did see that there were many times where shelves were empty, and I emphasized that many times, but it was glossed over. This is a problem that's happening. With the shipping, it's a problem that's happening with getting products here. But again, the only things that everybody could see was the fact that there were a lot of the workers coming into town and buying resources, buying food, and coming to these facilities. So we did see some of that for a good amount of time.
Well, and also to that point, all stores have empty shelves, right? Because of the issues, right? The shipping issues, the food supply chain. So on top of those, this is an additional impact to a small community that others might not think of. Same thing with the baby formula shortages. That's across, that's still existing. And that's still a problem for many citizens up and down this area, not just here, I'm sure, but up and down this area in general as well. Um, and what about, and I really don't know, so I'm genuinely asking because I don't know. I know I hear generators, right? I know that there's generators that are brought in, but right now everything is dry. Coming from North Texas, driving down here to South Texas, that long drive, it was nothing but burnt burnt highways. And the reason why I say that too is because there is a massive water drought shortage as well. Are they bringing water in from outside, or where is the water shortage or the drought? How are they compensating for that? Are they pulling it also from groundwater? But this is just one of two massive facilities in this area. That would be a huge impact as well. Do you know where they're getting the water from?
So last year, I can speak last year, before this one went dormant, and keep in mind these only went dormant just for about a month or so.
Right.
Right. It hasn't been months and months where there was no activity. It was just for about a month or so where there was no activity here. But the year prior, they did have a contract with the city for water. So they did pull those resources from the city in order to supply the demand here for water. Um, Other than the water issue, they are pretty much self-sustaining in many ways. They had at that time their own fire department, and when it comes to education, they had teachers, they had ambulance, and so on and so forth. However, the other facility was different, and they were pulling resources from our town.
Because they were owned by different,
Yeah, and
totally different
I'm
entities,
glad you
right?
brought that up.
Yes.
They actually are owned by two completely different entities. Today it's the same. They're not owned by the same
Okay.
entity. So BCFS last year had opened this one up, and this is now opened up and sustained by someone else. Same thing with the facility across. So as far as are they getting the water from the city, the one across, I don't know yet. Are they presently? I don't know. I don't know yet at the moment. So I'm trying to find those out. But what I did tell our commissioners and what I did tell our city council, those who would listen, is if we're already in the middle of an energy crisis,
Right. Because you hear those
climate,
generators
drought,
going.
if we're in the middle of these crises at the moment, to sustain a facility of such magnitude definitely is going to put pressure on the local community when it comes to sewer, water, electricity, so on and so forth. So, yeah, it is a very big reality. It's understandable that in some way, shape, or form, it will put some pressure on it.
And really quick too, because I know we want to go live if you haven't already done so, and I hope I'm not in your way. Um, but what would be some of the suggestions that you would have Wise County up there in North Texas in my area just declared this as an invasion. We have a lot of action items, on securetheborder.us of how people can get different ways that they can get active and engaged and involved. But what would, as a leader and a local activist, what would be some of the suggestions, or tips that you would give others that may be wanting to step up and fill the gap, in their communities, in their cities, in their counties?
I think the first thing would be to find out in the community who actually cares about this issue, because you can never do anything alone. You need to have a group of people who are good people, good outstanding character, who care about these issues, who are willing to get together. That's the first thing. Second, of course, you have to attend as many commissioner court meetings, city council meetings as possible to see actually what's happening in the area, because this is where you get the pulse of the community. Thirdly, meet with your leaders. So call your county judge. Call the city manager and your mayor. Call the sheriff, and have conversations with them on what they're doing and how they feel about this issue. And that's a very big part of being able to share the truth, is to speak the truth on these issues. So it's not just about opinion or feeling.
Right.
Many people can get caught up in that, and now you're not trying to solve any problems. They're just shouting matches. So always be armed with the truth, with the facts, and don't be afraid to speak the truth. And if you're able to do all those things, then you'll definitely have a leg to stand on. You'll have a good foundation. So that's the start of it. In my opinion, that's what we've done. And to this point, we don't have the whole community on board with the things we discussed, but it has taken literally 2 years for the community to see that for those of us who are involved, that all we've done is share facts.
Right.
And all we've done is show that we genuinely care about the community, not just are spouting certain types of
narratives, opinions.
Yeah,
Yep.
to divide the community. Instead, trying to find common ground with those who disagree, and to help them understand this, it does affect you negatively too. We can disagree on A, B, and C, but these other issues, let's agree on that if you do agree, and let's still come together. So we've been successful, thank God, in at least doing that, and we've built enough. And here's the thing: you got to be prepared to be there for the long haul.
Yes.
So sometimes it might take 2 years, 3 years to build up enough confidence in the community that what you say, you can believe. That way to it.
Right, because when you're asking the questions, you're searching, you're fact finding. You're not searching. It's literally fact finding data. What's really happening, right? And then sharing that information. It's truthful, it's factual, and of course, everyone has a bias. Literally, every single person has a bias. But like you said, there are some reasonable people out there, and the big thing is really just trying to share the information. Like that right there is key, because like you said too, nobody knew that this was happening, and so just trying to share the information, getting that on that, guys, like and share the video. But and one other question, and I don't know if you know the answer, but maybe based off of last year. Again, the population here is roughly about 5,800 in Carrizo Springs. How many went through these two facilities? Do you have an idea of the number that went through in comparison to the population here of this community?
That's a great question. As far as the other facility that I did not get to go tour because it was run by a whole different company, I do not know how many went through that facility. But for BCFS, they were also connected to HHS, and HHS put up the numbers. So that was a big help. So the last update that I saw before it shut down was over 14,000.
Wow. So just from one facility, more than 3 times the population. That's wow. And that's not including the workers and everything else. Exactly. That's just the sheer numbers, which is HHS is Homeland Health and Human Services, which is also the data keeper for especially the unaccompanied minors. So wow. Well, thank you very much, Peter. And I'm gonna give this, Maria, if you don't mind holding this while we continue. And then we'll also hopefully go around. Or at least just walk up there at some point. Yes. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Sheena.
It's running.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have anything else?
No. Okay. She's just.
Okay.
Tell me when to end.
All right. Well, you know.
Oh, and oh, wait, yes. Where can people find you?
Oh, thanks.
I don't
Thank you,
know. I'm
Sheena.
so sorry. Yes,
So,
because, and guys, please, seriously, follow and share this. Like him and his family have given a lot. It takes a lot to get active, engaged, and involved, and to be on the forefront. And of course, there is a risk involved, and we want to show Peter and his family as much support as possible. And we're all fellow Texans, right?
Yeah.
So like what you guys are going through down here, it impacts all of Texas and all of the United States. So please make sure he's always putting out amazing content. It's truthful. It's back. It's never look. The situation is bad enough. You don't ever have to, you know, exaggerate. That's one of my personal frustrations. I'm like, really? Peter's never been one to do that. If anything, he's extra cautious to make sure that it's factual and that it's on point. So please share all of where they can find you and follow you and share your information and support you.
Thank you, Sheena. Right now, we are on Facebook only because for our community, we have County Border Crisis Reports page, and there is a video pinned at the top of the page that shows a brief kind of summary of the things that have been going on here in town. So view that, and then just scroll through, and you can see a lot of the posts that we have, firsthand accounts, a lot of video footage of smuggling, of car crashes through town. We're talking about crashes at City Hall, at our county courthouse, near local businesses, neighborhoods, you name it. And that's something that really does help out our community so much. Factual evidence, video footage. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Sheena.
Thank you. Okay. If you want to, well, we will be back later and we'll walk around. We'll walk around and I'll post